All right, Will. Welcome back.
Thanks, man.
This is the Saturday edition of the Muscle and Speed podcast, and it's going to be me and you every week.
Sweet. I'm ready for it.
So I was thinking we'll sit down. This first episode, I'd like to sit down and talk about to start with, our top 10 favorite car movies. We'll move beyond that. But I'm not sure if it was you or if it was Jay the other day that posted a link to Better Off Dead, that it came out yesterday, 30 years ago or whatever. For whatever reason, it wouldn't let me share the link to the preview for the movie, and so I didn't get it posted to Muscle and Speed, and I'd wanted to, mainly because, in my opinion, that's a car movie. As much as car movies can be car movies, and they don't have to all be about cars, it's a car movie. There's street racing.
Movie, it was the car and the girl. They didn't know he had. It's the car movie.
Yeah. What year? Was it a 67 or 68 Camaro in that? But that was one of the cars when I was a kid, because what I was going to post was great movie, great car. And then I was going to put, we rented the crap out of this back when we were kids. But all of that is excellent. All of it. John Cusack, the girl with the fake French accent. Or was it real? And
the station wagon races with the guy.
Station wagon. He hit the guy from Porky's because he was accidentally in reverse. Then he ended up working for him. It's just, what a great movie. Better Off Dead. Favorite line from the movie, honest to God, favorite line of the movie is when he gets knocked into the garbage truck. And he's like just laying on top of the garbage. And those two guys are working on that power pole. And one of them looks down and he's like, "Look, someone threw away a perfectly good white boy." That is one of the coolest things that happened in a movie in the 80s, in my opinion. But yeah, so that's what I was thinking. We can talk about our top 10. And then for future episodes, what I'd like to do is pick a movie and give a real full review of it. I think that's a good time. Okay. So yeah, I want to pick a movie going forward where each week so we can dive into it. When we pick that movie, then during the week, I'd like to both of us take time to watch it, gather our thoughts, and then on Saturday we'll talk about it. But let me get through my top 10, and then we'll do yours, okay? Okay, so my top 10 is American Graffiti. I watch it all the time. Ron Howard, Richard Dreyfuss, Harrison Ford's in it. And I can't think of her real name right now, but Shirley from Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. And then, of course, Bullet. The iconic Mustang, one of the greatest cars chase scenes of all time. One of the reasons that I fell in love with Mustangs to begin with, probably the biggest reason. And then Hollywood Nights, which is basically an 80s remake of American Graffiti, but this one's R-rated and it stars Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer and a bunch of people. I really like it though. And that has Project X, which was a feature car for popular Hot Rodding magazine and Hot Rod magazine back in the day. In fact, they still have it, and they modify that car and use it as a test bed for products all the time. Pretty cool. And it was in the movie. Tony Danza's car. And then for me, Smokey and the Bandit. You know, you can't go wrong there. I've probably seen that
No.
one more than any other of these because it just cracks me up. Can't get enough of Burt Reynolds and Jackie Gleason and all those guys on there. So next would be Vanishing Point, the original movie. I told someone that, and they were like, they were talking about the TV movie with Viggo Mortensen. I was like, no, the original movie. But that's excellent. The White Challenger. The premise is stupid, and he is kind of a criminal, but excellent movie. Some cool cop chase scenes. You know, the cop gets a souped up Trans Am, I believe, chases him down, doesn't get him. The Challenger blows his doors off, but excellent. And then Two Lane Blacktop, kind of a surreal movie, and it's the 55 Chevy from American Graffiti that Harrison Ford was driving. It's also the star of this movie. And you've got James Taylor as the driver. And it's a very kind of serious street racing movie.
Are you talking about James Taylor, the singer?
James Taylor, the singer, as a young man. He's a serious street racer in this one. I like this because this tells me that you haven't seen it. So
no, I haven't seen that.
When we get to this one, you're going to love it.
Okay.
Dirty Mary Crazy Larry, that stars Peter Fonda, who just passed.
Yeah.
And that has a 69 Charger, and it's another like getaway movie with lots of car chases, lots of accidents, just fantastic.
It's on my Netflix queue.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it.
And then Cannonball. And this is the Cannonball that stars David Carradine. This is not the funny Burt Reynolds movie. That's what? Cannonball Run.
Yeah,
Cannonball. Cannonball is David Carradine, and he is driving an early 70s Trans Am in a road race across the country.
Huh.
And the mafia is trying to stop him. It's a fantastic realistic 70s driving movie. Just awesome. I know you probably haven't seen that one either. These are kind of obscure, but
they are a little bit.
But they are amazing, trust me. I mean, there's a huge cheese factor, of course, but I love them. The Gumball Rally. That's about it's about the Gumball Rally, which still goes on to this day, which is similar to Cannonball Run, which also still goes on to this day. It's another just race across the country, first person, usually New York to LA or something along those lines. First person across wins, and it's a bunch of money and prestige, and it's a bunch of rich guys that get together and do it. So pretty cool. I'm a fan, of course. It's a fun movie. You'll see Gary Busey's in it. There's a bunch of people in it from the 70s that you'd recognize. Who's the guy who played Gomez Addams in the Addams Family movie that passed?
Christopher Lloyd?
Not Christopher Lloyd. He was Uncle Fester.
Oh, Fester. Gomez Addams. Raul Julia.
Yes, Raul Julia plays an Italian race driver in it, and he is fantastic.
Because he's fantastic. A great actor.
Oh man, and he's a total babe hound who almost blows it because of that, and it's just awesome.
How could you not be with that accent?
It is great.
If only you had that accent.
I could fake it, but it wouldn't sound as good.
No, not natural.
Gone in 60 Seconds, the 2000 version. I know this is kind of a controversial one because a lot of people do prefer the original for being the original. But Gone in 60 Seconds in 2000 was kind of... it came out in 2000. I was 23 years old. It just hit all the right buttons for me. You had Angelina Jolie and Nicolas Cage, and there's all these cool people. Giovanni Ribisi was in it.
Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall's in it.
All those cool cars.
Yeah. and specifically, as much as I own the original Gone in 60 Seconds. In fact, I own all of these movies. But the remake, that Eleanor, that 67 Shelby GT500, yes, it's been overdone. Yes, there's a ton of them out there now. There are more 67 Shelby GT500s now than there was originally. Let's put it that way. So I get it, and I know that some people are really tired of it, but I see things through the eye of the person who saw them the first time. So I don't see it and go, oh, there's 50 million of those. I look at that and go, my God, that blew me away the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I am. But love Gone in 60 Seconds. Still watch that one quite a bit. All right. So that's me. What's your 10?
All right, top 10. Start off with the Blues Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Dutch
it's
Monaco.
funny, but it catches. That's what I remember is the big car chases, the ridiculous jumps and stuff. It was a
Yep.
car movie.
Yep.
Yeah, on that it had great music. Licensed to Drive,
Yeah.
that
License to
Ferrari.
Drive. Yep.
The Cadillac.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The two Corys.
beautiful cars.
Were they both
Mad
in
Max.
that one?
What? Yeah,
Were they?
both cars. Yeah,
They were in
Feldman.
there. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Mad Max, because I love the AMC.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it? Or no, is
Ford
it
Falcon.
Ford Falcon?
Yep. The Aussie version.
And I've also got Cannonball Run, which you've already talked about. Basic Instinct to me is kind of a car movie.
Really?
The Fox Body Mustang.
That's not what I remember about from that movie.
Well,
But okay. Fox Body Mustang. I'm with you.
we've got love with the car chases. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there were some good ones. Also Smokey and the Bandit. Point Break,
Point
because I
Break.
love the Boss Mustang.
Right.
Yeah, the big monster truck.
You know, a lot of people are saying John Wick these days, too.
I was thinking John Wick, but it wasn't going to make in this. It wasn't going to be a part of it.
All right. Yeah.
Back to the Future, the DeLorean, because
yes.
I don't care what anybody says, you cannot find that car, and if you do, buy it. If you find a DeLorean that somebody's selling, you buy it. That 15 grand will be worth it. Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, yeah. See that,
Yeah.
and that's the car that I thought, or the Z28 in there that was owned by Forrest Whitaker.
Oh man,
And, Sean Penn and Forrest Whitaker's little brother wreck it, but spoiler alert. I thought that's what got you into Camaros. I did.
it was part of it, sure, but
Yeah.
like I said, I told you I found that guy, but anyways, an American Graffiti I got to, which we already talked about, so
Yeah.
that's it, man. I think that's my top 10.
That's a good list. I like that you throw in ones that I don't think about too. And here's the thing about that. So there are very few movies that are actually like the car is the centerpiece.
Yeah.
There really are. And so what makes a car movie to me is when the car in it kind of steals the show or steals part of it for you and imprints on you, the cars that are in there. So yeah, I like that because I totally agree. That's, those aren't ones that those few that you mentioned aren't necessarily ones that I think about. But now that you mention it, now I need to think about it. You know what I mean?
Man, even Gary Busey's car in Point Break was awesome.
He was awesome in Point Break.
Yeah, he was
the
awesome.
Hawaiian shirts.
Yep. He was taking shrapnel in K-Sod while he was still shitting in his diaper.
Also
Yeah.
known as the prequel to Fast and Furious, because as we all know, the Fast and the Furious is kind of a blatant ripoff of Point Break.
Yeah, you can see that.
um,
You know
Yeah.
what, though? When I think about car movies and stuff, sometimes before any movies come to mind, shows come to mind
sure.
because I think of like the A-Team and Knight Rider and stuff, and those movies really the centerpiece was part of it was the vehicle, I guess the A-Team, but that band was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
BA's fan. Yeah, and I think I want to do movies for a while, but I mean, obviously, if we keep doing this podcast together on a weekly basis, we're going to run out of movies to talk about. So
Yep, eventually.
that I would like to switch to TV shows at that point,
Hmm.
because obviously there's quite a few for me too, and it's just cool.
Yeah, it is.
So, having said all that, what's the first movie we should attack?
Uh, does it have to be a car movie?
Yes,
It does have to be a car movie. All right.
not forever, but for this one it does.
Well, why don't you get the first pick? I'll take the second pick.
Okay,
Do that.
let's do Smokey and the Bandit.
Smoking the Bandit. All right.
Just because I know it's accessible to both of us, it's an easy one to do. It's one we both enjoy watching, and it's very quotable.
I can watch it anytime.
Yeah,
I can watch Smoking the Bandit anytime.
it's one of those movies. If you, if you just grabbed a bag of Doritos and a beer, and you sit down on the couch and you flick on TBS, and it's like 40 minutes into it, you finish it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Gotta finish the rest of the movie. Yeah. One movie that was left off my list, but just off because I was thinking about it was City Heat.
With Eastwood
Clint
and
Eastwood and Burt Reynolds.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because I think about the cars.
yeah,
Those gangster coupes. Those are awesome. I
those
love
are
them.
awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And those are the cars that I struggle with because we were talking about that the other day, and they're like, "Wow, you really recognize all these cars and this and that," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, for certain ones, but
So,
there's
yes.
like decades of cars that just look the same to me, or
Yeah.
or it's not even that they look the same. I just don't know what the differences are, and so I don't know what I'm looking at all the time.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a 30s car, I'm gonna think most of the time it's some kind of 30s Ford, and it
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be.
It's not exactly the same, but
40s, no better. 40s cars, and that's what we're talking about. City Heat. I don't know those cars one from another, not really well.
but they had what in the 1940s the Mercury was big.
Yeah, the later Mercs were the ones that now they chop the top and slam them.
Yeah.
They have those huge chrome grills. Yeah, and they're worth a ton of money.
Ton of money. There's a 1940s coupe that's over here by mom and dad's that's for sale.
Yeah, Dad sent me some pics, or Mom did.
It's
I think
nice.
they both did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited about doing this. I think it's going to be a good time. Real quick before we move on to the next thing, though, in November, and then when you get a chance, go on YouTube and look this up. But it's Ford versus Ferrari. It comes out in November. It stars Matt Damon and Christian Bale. There's other people in it, but it looks amazing. It's about the time that Enzo Ferrari thumbed his nose after agreeing to sell Ferrari to Ford, thumbed his nose at Ford and said, "You ain't going to own my company." And Ford got pissed and went and found Carroll Shelby, and Carroll Shelby found his driver and went out and kicked Ferrari's butt.
Kick ass. Yeah, that's what happens though when you act like that.
Right.
Just,
Here's the thing about
like,
that. It's not like I hate on Ferrari because, Enzo's a guy who is so passionate about racing in all forms. European forms. He's not big on drag racing. He's so passionate about the different types of road racing and having those teams. He has a car company to sell cars to fund his racing. Obviously, he's passed away, but
That's awesome.
people don't know that about him,
Yeah.
I think. But that's Enzo Ferrari. And if you understand that about him, that he really, the profiting and this, that, and the other, he doesn't
Didn't matter
care
as
about
much
that.
as the competition.
Right. He's there to compete and win and build, sweet Italian cars. And,
He wants to do something better.
I
Well,
get it. But He should not have pissed Ford off like that, obviously.
No, not when you think when you're that egotistical. It shows in every kind of
Right, and
it's
not that
when
Ford
you get your
wasn't
ass
egotistical.
kicked.
It's just, yeah, be careful who you piss off.
Yeah, check yourself.
And my little anecdote I put on this is just based on the preview. I'm saying this one might make my top 10 when it comes out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Look at man. It's been a long time since I've seen a really good movie. I mean, a new one.
Yeah,
Not like I mean the old. There's some old movies that are truly fantastic, but it's been a long time since something's been really good. I did enjoy the Avengers movie that just came out. We watched that the other day.
Endgame.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just
I thought
watched
that
it
was
again
hilarious.
last night.
Yeah, pretty cool. Not bad.
It is. I'm a sucker for movies, though.
Yeah. So
You know what? I don't think that's bad though, because some people are like, you like anything. Well, kind of, but I'm entertained by it, and
yeah,
so when a
that's
movie's
what
funny,
it
I
is.
laugh. If it's sad, I get sad. If it's exciting, I get excited. Wouldn't you rather that than look at everything with like a squinty eye, going, "This is bull.
Yeah,
This is
this is
fake.
bull crap.
That's fake." Well, it's all make believe, so all of
Yeah,
it's fake,
exactly. So just accept it and move on. Enjoy the
right?
story. Keep your mouth shut.
That car can't do that kind of burnout. That car couldn't slide like that. That car couldn't. Like,
Whatever.
listen, unless it's ridiculous, and I'll call out one of the movies in my top 10. Gone in 60 Seconds would move from 10th to like 5th. Maybe not that high. 6th. If it didn't have that stupid jump right at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't do that because it's pretty common knowledge that if you take a car like that, it's destroyed.
Yeah.
There is no driving it away.
Well, and here's the thing. You made the car vulnerable by having the dents and the dings and the things
Yep.
that, and just the little fender benders that he had leading up to that point. But then you jump it 40 feet off the top of like a car hauler.
Nope.
You just established that if you could ding you know what I mean? If you can
Yeah.
ding it, you'd crush it with a jump like that. And that's why it ruined it. And it was unnecessary because the chase up to that point was
It was great.
fantastic. Delroy Lindo, Timothy Oliphant, just everybody rocked that. Except for that stupid jump. And yes, it knocked it from really high all the way to the bottom of my top 10. Still made the top 10.
Yeah, you just can't throw that in there.
No. No, you can't. They did,
Nope.
but you shouldn't. Interesting fun fact. So that's when I had my 68 Mustang. I had to wait an extra 6 months because I was doing a California special replica or theme, I guess, for my 68 Mustang.
Yeah.
I had to wait an extra 6 months because the company that made those for National Parts Depot was the same company that was working with Gone in 60 Seconds. And so they were all tied up doing that movie, and I couldn't get my Shelby deck
You
lid
couldn't
and
get
fender
what you
extensions
wanted
and side scoops until they finished with the freaking movie.
because they were making buku bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
Another car I wish I still had, but whatever.
Well, we can't keep them all. I mean, we try to, but
We should keep them all. We really should.
I wish I had. I'd have 5 cars right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd have 5 muscle cars if I kept all my cars. I'd have 5.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yep.
I think it's a lot until I listen to like car guys that are kind of car crazy and they say they have like 20
Yeah.
or
Well,
10 and I'm like, what?
if you could,
You
you
need to
would.
talk to my wife. Someone needs to talk to her for me.
Yeah, but I'm excited about this biker meetup at this bar in Boyne Mountain. I think it's going to be a good showing.
That's awesome.
You're going to find some good cars there.
That's awesome. And next year, I really hope to add Harleys to the mix. Tommy and Kyle are really into bikes, and I'd like to give that a shot.
Yeah.
We're doing a
Harleys
muscle
are
car
awesome.
thing, and I love muscle cars to death. I love, Julie's got her big jacked up 4-wheel drive, and she loves that. I dig that too. I'd like to give it all a try. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Look at it from all angles. Motorcycles
Try
are
to.
awesome. Celestine asked me once if I would ride one. I was like, sure. And I've only ridden on motorcycles. I rode with Michael Willett once, and I
Yeah.
rode with Uncle Mel once I think it was like '84.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Um, okay, so we did talk a little bit about moving on to car inspired or inspiring TV shows, and
Yeah.
we will do that at some point. But one of the things I do want to get us involved in, and we talked about it right before we went on here, is the Motor Trend on Demand. They have original content, but they also share. Basically, they have an archive of all the shows from like Fast and Loud's, Street Outlaws Memphis, Street Outlaws New Orleans. So there's a ton of content on there for the monthly fee that you pay, and it is well worth it. They also have some racing on there. They've got documentaries on there. So I mean, for a car enthusiast, they have everything.
Okay.
So I'd like you to get that, and then we can talk about some of the shows that they've aired up to this point. It won't take you long to get caught up. Like I said, most of the episodes are 20 to 40 minutes, so you can go through them really quick. But Roadkill Garage, Hot Rod Garage, like I said, Junkyard Gold, Dirt Every Day. That's exactly what we were just talking about. Kind of covers everything. Junkyard
Some of
Diving
those
is
I had
another.
already seen.
Yeah, well, Junkyard Diving is another really cool thing.
Okay.
I haven't done. I've been to a few up here. It's kind of tough up here because everything rusts so bad. You'd experience the same probably there, but the one I was thinking of was Anthony, way down in El Paso.
Where he
I
can keep
wonder
a
if we could get
car.
him to go to some junkyards down there, because if something dies in El Paso and they give it to a junkyard, it will just sit there until it's crushed.
It'll just get dusty.
Yeah.
Yep. Be dusty
So
for a
I'm
while.
going to talk to him about that. I don't know if he'd be up for that or not, because they got like rattlesnakes and scorpions and all kinds of crap down there that, you know.
Oh, he's tough.
Well, he's lived down there a long time. But yeah, that's something that I thought about. Something that would be really cool to do is talk about the Motor Trend stuff kind of more in depth with someone who's watching it with me. So then the other thing. So on the Muscle and Speed website, we have a cruising playlist from SoundCloud, and I picked the songs that are on there. We had a Foo Fighters playlist on there for a while, and now I've got basically some 50s and 60s rock and roll. So it's some Chuck Berry, Elvis, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, just stuff that I could think of that I found that I thought would be cool.
I had so much fun after this. I was watching riding horses, and I was hanging Nana, hanging horses. I was riding up, and I was holding.
She rode a horse.
Awesome.
And that was the whole story.
That was the whole thing.
That's awesome. But what I wanted you to do was kind of go on there and check it out. And if you have thoughts on a playlist,
I will do
things to
that.
cruise to, basically.
Yeah, man. How about
Um,
this for just the starters? How about Dead Man's Curve, Jan and Dean?
And I didn't put that one on there.
Oh,
There's a
oh.
bunch that I didn't have on there, but I want to change the playlist up from time to time. I don't know if anybody else goes on there and listens to it. I don't, because you can play it through the main page. I don't see if you do or you don't.
Yeah. Well, what am I limited to if I'm putting music on there? What am I being careful of? You let me know, because
You can play whatever you want.
okay, all right. 'Cause
Basically, the
I
thought
might
is
put on
whatever
some,
you like to listen to while you're driving.
Yeah, I might put on some Master Ace sitting on Chrome. How about that?
There you are. I know Jordan, if he has his say, it'll just be Metallica.
Oh man, yeah. Well, there's some good ones to drive to. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Driving songs.
But yeah, that's pretty good, man. And then the last thing, another reminder, and we're gonna say it till it's done. The Muscle and Speed 1995 Mustang GT convertible is up for sale. You can find it on our website. It's up on Craigslist in our area, Facebook Marketplace. We've listed everywhere we can. It's $4,995. It is a performance red, tan leather, tan top Mustang GT 302 automatic. It's got MSD ignition. It's got many upgrades to the engine. It's got a Flowmaster stainless steel exhaust. It's got the Cobra suspension upgrades. It's got the Cobra R wheels, 17 by 9.5 in the front, 17 by 10.5 in the rear. They are thick. The rear shot of that car looks amazing. It's got the Cobra R hood, the Mach 1 spoiler. It has everything. And it is a great driver. It's great looking. I think you can't go wrong with that. You know, a convertible Mustang, you can cruise it. It sounds amazing. It looks amazing. It's a great way to get into the hobby. It's not expensive to own or maintain. Check it out.
Yeah, if you want my unbiased opinion, it is all of those things. It's a beautiful Mustang. It could really turn out to be something. Nice car. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and Michigan forever has been horrible with their insurance prices. That's changing next year. But like I said, I checked it out through Haggerty. It's not expensive to insure it. It just isn't. It wouldn't be for anybody.
No.
So
Yeah,
it's definitely
not
something to
it's
look
not
into. Well, I think it's a barrier to our hobby. You know, a lot of people think these things are just really expensive to have and it's so much extra money. It really isn't. It really isn't. You know,
No.
in Michigan, we do have the disadvantage of needing a winter vehicle, but it's not that bad. You know,
Well, you put it this way. This is what I always tell everybody. You put your money in a bank. Say that you're saving. You got $10,000 or $15,000 sitting in the bank account, and something happens where you lose that money. If you own a muscle car or a classic car or a sports car, that car is like money in the bank. It will always hold value. Not every single car, but there are, you know, if you're into this kind of stuff, these it's like money in the bank. That's all you're doing. You know, you keep it, you can upgrade it and make it worth more money, or you keep it all original.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing, and I think for me, here's the other way I look at it. I love muscle cars, obviously. If I was into decorative plates, I think I think our house would look weird. But
Yeah.
but here's the thing that I think about it too is like I'm not great at saving money. Yeah, I have my account set up, and yeah, I have these things set aside, but in my day-to-day, I am not great at saving money. And so one of the reasons I like with buying something like this is it gives you a channel for that extra money to go into where I have something to show for it. Where a year from now, if I do need to sell it or something comes up, I have something of value. It's not 6 extra pairs of stupid blue jeans or some other stupid thing that is worth nickels within days of you owning it. This is different. This will hold its value. So in the car market, they talk about that, and it is price speculation, but these things already bottomed out a while ago. They are starting to go back up in value, and there's a reason for that because a 1970 Chevy Chevelle costs you $50,000 plus if it's fully restored and beautiful. If it's not, you can get them cheaper than that. That's absolutely true. Still not going to be as cheap as this. So this is a great looking car. Get you right into the hobby. You can cruise it, top down, summertime, have a great time with it, and it's not going to give you any trouble.
Nope.
You know, it really is a great way to get into the hobby and a great car to start with.
It's a Mustang.
That's right.
That's
American
really
muscle.
all you should have to. I mean, you know, there's been question marks, maybe twice, but other than that, it's a Mustang. Mustang's reliable, beautiful cars, nice engines, great options.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good ride. But that's about all I got for this week. Next week we'll dive into Smokey and the Bandit, and we'll talk about some more stuff. We'll update our playlist and talk about what we're throwing on it and why.
We have to talk about the Lions.
We'll get to talk about the Lions. Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So Kyle and Tom and I did talk about this a little bit, but I don't mind jumping back into it. So, so they played Buffalo last night. um, Stafford and the starters looked good while they were out there. As soon as the starters were out, though, they looked like absolute dog crap again. So that is bad, and the preseason still just it baffles me why it exists. You know, I've heard so many people will tell you, well, they need that experience to get them ready for the regular season. Bull crap. They scrimmage these
Yeah.
guys all week long, not on
Yep.
television. They do not need these stupid games where you just get
No,
people hurt.
I'd say 2 games maximum.
Yeah,
Two is all they need, like a practice, a run through, But that's basically what they're doing anyways. Except
right,
they're doing it full speed, and it's dangerous for anybody who's our starter. And
right.
as it looks like our second and third strings aren't going to be able to hold up.
No, they look terrible. But
So
here's the thing about it, though. They're running plays that they're not going to run in the regular season, or at least not
yeah,
very often, and they're running sets that you aren't going to see in the regular season. Everything is meant to mask what your regular season's going to be because you don't want to give away your playbook or your design or your schemes. So what you're left with is a long audition for a bunch of players who are likely not to make the team. It's stupid. And yes, so you sprinkle in your starters in there here or there, and they
yeah,
have nothing but a chance of injury. So yesterday, Gerard Davis and Frank Ragnow go down for the Lions. Cam Newton went down for Carolina. This is so dumb. This is
yeah,
so
because
dumb.
now those players that are faces of the team, like Cam Newton, what do the fans got to look forward to?
Right. It's
These
just
back,
about you know what you want to. I'll lay out the truth. The truth is, it's about market share. It's about the NFL having extra games and extra buying power and extra time on TV.
yeah,
That's what the preseason is all about from the business side.
yeah, pretty
That's
much.
it. You know, I say make the games count or stop doing it.
Or
Make a
stop doing
choice.
it. Especially if it's costing people, we as fans pay a lot of money when we do go to these games,
Yeah.
and we expect to see certain things, and it's not always going to happen like that. But there's reasons. I mean, look at the way that they protect the quarterback.
Right.
Well, protect everybody else because we'd like to see, how it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Tyler Hokinson looked good. He had 52 yards receiving. He looked really good.
Good.
Amendola caught some passes, had some nice gains. C.J. Anderson ran really well. They look good. The starters look good. Now, as you and I both know, the starters rarely will make it through as a group through the regular season.
Rarely
And that's
for
where the
us.
problems come up. So who their backups are and who gets played when
Well,
someone does get hurt is the concern.
yeah, if someone goes down, you go to the next best guy so it's not like you're switching an entire lineup. We're not worried about that. We just want to know if these second string and third string guys, when they have to come up and play, can they hold their own a little bit?
Right now, it doesn't look like it.
But when
I mean, it's different if they're
if,
lined up next to a
if
bunch
like
of starters where they're not so
well, like
exposed.
if a second stringer's lined up next to two first stringers, maybe that'll be okay.
Right, the impact won't be as bad. That's
It
for
won't be
sure.
as bad. It's not like everybody's getting hurt. And I am looking forward to seeing Hawkinson because, I play Xbox and I play every Madden every year. I usually buy them as soon as they come out. And Hawkinson kicks ass.
Yeah. I think you can get Motor Trend on demand, by the way, through Xbox, just so you know.
Okay. All right, man.
Yeah, Hawkinson looks amazing. Great athlete coming out of college. You have a D line with Trey Flowers,
Oh,
Damon
man.
Harrison, Mike Daniels. It looks they look pretty stout, and if
Fresh.
Gerard Davis is not really hurt, you have a pretty solid set of linebackers. It's their defense looks really good. Really good. Improved from last year for sure.
Well,
So
are they starting Christian Jones or are they starting that rookie Tavai?
Tavai, I believe.
They are. I thought so. I think he's going to be really good, man. I think he's going to look. I think he's going to make a big difference this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, really
Yeah, I
do.
think so. But it just depends on how healthy they can stay, you know.
Well, come on, let's stay positive. We got
I know the
no
season hasn't even
season
started yet. It's
in
not
front
time to
of
write them
us.
off. It was just hilarious though, because we were talking. Kyle and Tom and I were talking before the first preseason game, and I'm like, and I'm talking about their off-season moves, and I'm like, it's crap. Green Bay hasn't beat them in 3 years, and I think Green Bay got worse this year. How the hell are they going to beat Detroit this year? And then I'm like, they were competing with the Vikings and the Bears. I think they can beat those teams. Why can't they win the North? Blah blah blah. And then you get into these these first few preseason games, and you're like, oh my god,
And
what was I thinking?
but we don't know yet because Patricia's he knows what being a coach in Detroit means. That's a map that's laid out for anybody who takes that job.
Right.
He knows what it means, so he's got to be completely serious about making it somewhere, and that's what I want to see. I don't care so much about Detroit winning a Super Bowl, but I care about the team playing well and making the playoffs and being a contender. That's what I want.
Right.
We'll worry about Super Bowls after that.
I know, and we were kind of talking about that with U of M because U of M's kind of on the hot seat for this year. They're ranked 7th coming into the season. They had a really good offseason. They brought in a lot of talent. Harbaugh is kind of intimated he's not going to stay there forever, and this could even end up being his last year. They've been better since he's been there. However, and this is a problem, I think, and the Lions have a problem with this mentality because the mentality is at Michigan is to beat Ohio State, right? That's
Yeah.
the thing. Well, here's the problem I have with that. When it was Lloyd Carr and Bo Schembechler, the motto going into the season was to win a national championship. And that's a different thing.
That's a different thing because then you're not worried so much about those teams and the talent.
You're just
And
worried about being the
yeah,
best because you feel
yeah.
that's the confidence of if I'm
That's
playing my best, those teams don't even matter.
Well, it's a difference between a Super Bowl and NFC Championship.
Right. And the
Or the
Lions, I agree. I just want them to compete.
Yeah.
But at some level, your goal has to be the Super Bowl.
Oh, it's got to be.
I mean,
That's
the
it.
last time the Lions said that was John Kitna, and that's when we went 0-16. But it's still where you got to go with it, you know?
Well, oh, you know what? We gave those guys chances. Those different coaches that brought in different players and different schemes. We gave them chances to be head coaches for our
Right.
team because they were good at their coordinating jobs. And those guys are back coordinating. They're not head coaches
I know.
because they never were meant to be head coaches.
But that's what Matt Patricia was, too.
Yeah, that's what he was too. So we'll see. Is he a head coach? Is he a real head coach that can really do something? Because Detroit's too talented to fall off the board this year.
Well, the players love him, right? I mean, that's clear. They respect him. So he's doing something right.
Yeah.
There was a difference when Jim Schwartz was there, and he did a pretty good job for a little while.
For a little while.
But there's just something off with him. I mean, you could tell. His attitude, the way he walked, the way he talked, there's just something off about him.
Yeah, he tried to fight Harbaugh in the San Francisco Detroit game when he was still coaching there. I remember that game.
Right.
He wanted to punch him. And then it was like, wait a second.
And then you got help me. What was his name that just got fired for Patricia?
Oh, Caldwell.
Jim Caldwell. So he was too passive. The players loved him, but they loved him because he didn't hold any. There was no accountability there.
No, not really.
You want to be nice, but you want to hold everyone accountable for the job they're doing. I don't care if it's your best player or your worst player.
Yeah.
And I think that's what works so well with the Patriots is they go in knowing that Belichick doesn't care what your name is or your stats from last season. He wants to know What'd you do today?
Yeah.
What was your effort today?
If you
And
can, if you
that's
can put up, a good numbers for him one game, he'll play you the next. But if you don't put up those same numbers again, he's benching you.
yeah, it'll be done.
You'll be done. You're not going to get. He play. It's football, and it's a lot of money, and their team makes more sense about that kind of stuff than any other team.
Yeah.
That's why they let go of players like Jamie Collins Jr. and stuff, because they don't give a crap how well you did last season. Can
Right.
you do it again? And yeah, we'll pay you a fair wage, but we're not going to give you everything.
So, question. Tom Brady retires in a year or two.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Do they take a big hit there? Because there's some people who believe, and I think they're wrong, but there's some people who believe Tom Brady's only Tom Brady because he plays in that system.
No. Either way it goes, I think Tom Brady could play for any coach. I really do, but I don't think he's going to. I really don't. So Belichick goes, Brady goes, Brady goes, Belichick goes. That's the way it's going to be. I don't think that anybody's going to have to worry about the fall off, because once Brady goes, it doesn't matter about Belichick. You're rebuilding.
But
That's
do you think Belichick somewhere inside wants to prove that he can win without him?
I
Huh?
think he would like to. I think that he is a genius coach, and he would find a way to compete. But you can't replace Brady. You can't replace Montana. You can't replace those guys. It's impossible. Brady's shown, and he's playing because he wants to break all the records. He
Right.
doesn't, he wants to win another championship, but he's staying in the league because he wants to own everything so that everybody knows who was the best quarterback. And I think he'll do it. I think
Yeah.
he'll win every single record.
His drive to, because he's felt slighted his whole life.
Yeah, pretty
He
much.
felt slighted at Michigan when they moved on to Drew Henson. He felt slighted in the draft. He felt slighted when everyone was pissed off when Drew Bledsoe wasn't given the starting position back when he took over for him.
Yeah.
He plays with that fire now. 5 championships later,
Oh man.
all
yeah.
these records and all these accolades. He's
And-
still
and
playing that way.
It wouldn't surprise me if he won a championship next year.
Be
Wouldn't
nuts.
surprise me, because Belichick is a genius. He is.
Yeah.
But Brady is the quarterback, and there's nothing. It does not matter who your head coach is. You can't teach that.
Right.
He's amazing for his slow and his lanky, and he doesn't have a lot of bulk on him, but man alive, the dude he's the I don't know. I'd say Montana was my favorite quarterback forever.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. I love the Lions. That's the only team I like, but we barely. Stafford is like he's been the best quarterback we've had since 57, 58.
Yep.
Yeah.
By
So
far.
so Brady and those guys, they're amazing. The talent that they show on the field to be able to do that in front of all those people, it's really awesome.
So, quick question. Let's and I posed this question to Kyle too and Tom. Let's say the Lions don't do well this year.
Okay.
They fire Patricia.
Yeah.
Do you trade Stafford at that point?
Nope.
The reason I ask is because if you're going to enter another rebuild, Stafford's 30. He's one of the top 15 quarterbacks in football. He still carries a ton of value. Do you try to ride it out with him, or do you try to get as much as you can for him now as a superstar?
No, because even one of my friends from high school said it best. He said that's where great players go to die.
Yeah.
But somewhere in there you have to be able to fix that, because that's what people believe. And Stafford is one of those great players. There is no replacing Matthew Stafford.
He has tons of NFL records. That's the thing that when
he's-
people try to bag on him, it's like,
No.
dude, look at
But
his
he's
numbers.
one of the best quarterbacks. There's nobody else that has that arm talent. No,
Right.
I don't care. Tell me, I don't care. Aaron Rodgers, he does not throw the ball like Stafford. He
Well, it's a
can't.
key stat. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the most accurate quarterbacks I've ever seen play, and he's one of the greatest ever to play that position. However, he is over against winning teams in fourth quarter comebacks. Matt Stafford has the most wins in NFL history, fourth quarter comebacks.
Well, and the fact here's to me, and this is, I don't like the Packers. I don't like the Green Bay Packers. I do have respect for certain players, Reggie White, Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers rode Brett Favre's team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was not Aaron Rodgers' team. He didn't build that team. He wasn't there. He didn't get Donald Driver to the point that he was. Brett Favre did all of that.
Right.
Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers. If people ask how come the Green Bay Packers haven't won another championship, because those players are gone.
I think it's because once every 20 years, the Green Bay Packers go into free agency and get all the best talent they can. That's why I think
when they picked up Charles Woodson and won.
Yeah. Well, Tony Siragusa, Charles Woodson, they had a bunch of players they picked up in free agency. They had a really good running back that year. They had all the tools. And then after that, they lose Siragusa and they lose Charles Woodson and then they lose all these players. Donald Driver leaves. They start losing all these players. They don't want to pay them. And they're not going out in free agency to replace them. They think they can draft talent and they get worse and worse and worse and worse.
And that's just and it's about time.
They did it to Favre too.
Yeah.
And so someone brought this up, and again I said this to Tom and Kyle earlier, but I'll say it to you too, just to get your take on it. But someone pointed out that in 25 years you have two of the best quarterbacks in the history of football, and you have 2 Super Bowls to show for it. Like Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but I think that's why, like Mike McCarthy, I think he's a good coach. I think he is, because any coach that can coach at that level and be in a Super Bowl and take home a trophy, that's awesome. But somewhere, I think Aaron Rodgers is at his brink. He's because he didn't.
Well, he's getting old now. That's part of it. Is
he didn't believe in the team last year,
right? And he's a small guy, and you watch someone who relies on that isn't very big, that relies on speed and relies on this pinpoint accuracy and stuff. Those are the players that are going to be hurt the worst as they age.
Yeah.
His mobility is going to get worse.
Changes. You have to change. You have to change your game as you get older, because everything that you could do even 2 years ago is not going to happen.
So their first game is against the Bears on a Thursday night.
Thursday Night Football Bears. Is it in Green Bay or in Chicago?
I'm not sure, but I think Khalil Mack is going to leave pieces of Aaron Rodgers all over the place.
He's going to have a huge year.
That guy's insane.
Yeah, and Chicago's dangerous. They're a dangerous team because Trubisky's a different kind of quarterback. He's the best of both worlds, but he's still learning. He's not the best, but he's got the talent.
Right.
He's got the talent to do, whatever two different kinds of quarterbacks can do in a scheme. But, still to me, and even if Stafford's career winds down and we don't see anything great from him, he is a great NFL quarterback. To play for that team after everything that's gone on with Detroit for a long time, it's to be able to stand up and get hit in the mouth, 10 times.
The most hit quarterback in football.
Yeah, that's rough.
Hopefully that changes this year, because you can't do that forever either.
If you would have gave Stafford the same kind of talent level that he had the year that he threw 40 touchdown passes, he'd throw 40 touchdown passes every single year.
Well, we've said it a lot. When they traded away Golden Tate last year, obviously they didn't assume that Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones would get hurt in the next 2 weeks, but I do think they still underestimated Golden Tate and his value to that team. And it's not just them. Everybody does. I was having a conversation with this huge Steelers fan, Richard. Shout out Richard. But we had this conversation. He didn't believe me. I was like, Golden Tate is top 5 in nearly every receiving metric. He's one of the best, the very, very best in the league. But he does not get that respect.
No.
And it's weird because he produces like no other while he's out there.
but you don't see him getting the deep balls, and I think that really pisses him off.
It pisses
Right?
him
You
off,
don't, you
but he
don't
gets
see,
a ton of yards doing what he
yeah,
does, and that is so valuable for teams
that's
because
hard.
essentially he's the guy when the play breaks down or you're in a 3rd and short and they're stacked against the run. That's your guy.
Yeah. So that was a move last year to tell you how difficult the season had been,
Yeah.
is to trade a guy that
Well,
he was
and
kind of
here's the part
leading
about it that
every
bothers
category.
me the most. They did it to make room to re-sign Ezekiel Ansah,
Yeah,
and then they didn't
and they
re-sign
didn't sign,
Ansah.
which I still believe, no matter what anybody freaking says about his injuries, there would be, because his value had decreased.
Right.
You could have signed Ziggy Ansah for a 2-year contract for cheap enough and had a guy coming off the bench who was a better defensive end rusher than most in the league.
Do you
He's
know who
top
he's?
20.
Do you know who he's playing for now?
Seattle,
Yeah. So
right?
I'm
Yeah.
sure
So,
I'm sure he got paid. I'm sure he's
oh
making good
yeah,
money, and so it
but
also could have been a mutual thing where they didn't want to pay him as much as he knew he could get in the free agency.
the market, yeah, which is true. But then you need 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 guys that are coming off the bench out of those 54 players that can take a spot and make plays like nobody else.
Right.
And that's what Ansai is. That's part of what he is. The way that he would come off the edge and hurdle
Right.
the offensive line,
But he had 2 bad years.
that's you
I mean,
don't get that.
he
That
finished strong last year,
yeah, he had two
but
bad
overall
years.
he had 2 bad years in a row, and I think that's what did it. And the fact that he wasn't healthy both years. But
Yeah,
like you said, who
he
knows?
hadn't given up
Stafford
yet.
had 2 injury-plagued years to start
Yeah,
his tenure with the Lions, and now look, now he's one of the most
yeah.
durable, longest starting streaks in football. So,
So
um,
you just don't know, and
you
you
don't, you really
but the
don't.
problem is that obviously Detroit didn't want to give him the money, and
They
he knew he'd
didn't.
get more.
Well, and they must have had some inkling that they were going to get Trey Flowers,
Yeah,
and then trading at the end of the season and getting Damon Harrison. They had to
but
make some moves to make sure they could pay him.
if you got Trey Flowers in the end, you know you're getting him in free agency, whatever that deal was. That's awesome. But then you know you have Ashawn Robinson, you know you have Snacks and Deshaun Hand and Omori Arquara, which we don't know how good he could be,
And
but
I,
Ansah was a guy who
but now you got Mike Daniels.
he's a game changer. Yeah, Mike Daniels even is a great defensive tackle,
Right,
but a defensive end is completely different because they can string out the play, they can catch those stupid fast quarterbacks.
right.
Something you can't replace. You can't replace that because he's got the speed of a linebacker at
Well,
defensive end.
who did they just sign? They just signed an end.
I don't know. I haven't checked. I haven't
Let me
looked.
look real quick. I'll look it up.
Sure.
Quick update: Davis and Ragnow injuries are not season ending. Just so you
Awesome.
know. Let me find it real quick. I'm going on Bleacher Report. Yeah, they're saying both Gerard Davis and Ragnow, they were minor injuries. They're not bad.
Good.
Of course, everybody's trying to talk about that. But they signed this guy at the beginning of last week, and his name just escapes me just because I'm old, and
In the last week.
that's what happens. You see, Prater kicked a 61-yarder.
Oh, I know he could. It's awesome.
That guy's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Geez, so Pates, even when I was in middle school, that would have been said to be pretty much impossible. But
Yeah.
he's done a few times.
Jeez, I can't find it.
Huh. I'll have to check it out. I
Yeah.
think they've got some really good rookies. I hear a lot of talk about that safety, Will Harris, 43.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear a lot about him, his speed and his ability to track down plays, and then uh, even though he hasn't got a lot, I don't know. I haven't seen him play, but I hear a lot about that P.J. Johnson, that defensive tackle.
Yeah. Well, Detroit, obviously they went 6-10 last year, and so people didn't say a lot about them, but their defense was top 10 in the league.
Yeah,
So
we beat
honestly,
Super Bowl
they
champ.
lost one key player. And the reason I say that is because I think they picked up enough on the defensive line that losing Ansa isn't going to kill them the way it would have
No,
had they not picked up these other
yeah, no.
players.
Trey Flowers, Mike Daniels are awesome.
The question will be the secondary if they're going to be as good without Glover Quinn. So
I think they made strides.
yeah,
I do think that there were some people in free agency, but Walker coming out of his rookie year looked really good. He's fast, he's lanky, and he's got the speed to catch up to receivers. And then they got Rashard Melvin and Justin Coleman
yeah.
as cornerbacks, and both of those guys were starters. So we'll see.
Well,
If they can lock down a guy for 3 seconds and let that defensive line come down on that quarterback, who knows what we'll do this year?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be really interesting just because I think the defense is going to be better than last year, and
Yeah.
I think the offense is going to be better than last year, and so I don't think they go 6-10 again.
No.
I don't know what they're going to do. I think honestly, I think 10-6 is well within their grasp. We'll see. Earlier I said 9-7. So here's the funny part. So I said 9-7, and then they had a horrible preseason so far. And well, the next game's junk anyway, so you're not going to see anything impressive or
Garbage game.
groundbreaking. They're not even going to play their starters. Everybody's going to sit. So they had a horrible preseason, and now I'm going to ratchet it up and say I don't think they're going to go 9-7. I think they're going to go 10-6, even though the preseason sucked. They were 4-0 in the preseason the year they went 0-16, just for reference.
Yeah, just to let you know what it looks like when somebody's trying too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just my head tells me that there's too much talent there for them to finish so low. Because there's some people saying they're going to finish last in the league, they're going to be last in the North, or one of the worst teams in football. No way.
Not with Stafford, not with that defensive line. Your key elements. And now, the one weakness I would point out, the thing that bothers me the most about the Detroit Lions is the offensive line.
Yep.
Now, there have been guys in free agency, and and I know how it works. I understand that some guys doesn't matter what you say to them. They're not going to go to a specific team because they don't like them. They don't think they're any good. They don't think they have a shot at a title, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that bothers me. They don't spend more money in free agency on the offensive line. Isn't that the reason why Barry Sanders retired?
It's one of the reasons he really lost it with Detroit because Henry Thomas and Lomas Brown were the two people he stepped up for as their superstar, as their workhorse, as their driving force for their franchise, and he asked for two guys to stay only ever in his entire career. He never talked about anybody else, and they got rid of both of them.
Yep, they wouldn't do it. So that bugs me though, because it's what do they always say? They say it's in the trenches. It's the offensive line and the defensive line.
It is.
So we'll see. How good is Taylor Decker? Can he be consistent? Because when the guy wants to, he pushes the guy around. But sometimes he gets blown by.
Right.
So which Taylor Decker is going to show up?
Right. Yeah, and Ragnow's progression has been good.
Yeah, he's really awesome, but we can't afford to lose him, really.
Right. Well, they said it was a minor sprain, and they took him out as a precaution. That he's actually fine. Gerard Davis was the one that was a little bit worse, but he's walking under his own power, so it's not like
he'll probably be back for the regular season.
Yeah, they're not anticipating putting them on an IR or anything like that. So, I think that was more of a precaution, but one of the reasons I hate the preseason, but
Yep.
what can you do?
That's why we haven't played we didn't play Stafford. Normally, you'd see the starting quarterback in the first quarter or second quarter, the first two games, but not too much anymore.
No.
They stick the backup in there like this is not going to happen. We're not going to take the chance.
Right?
Yep.
Well, cool, man. I got to get rolling.
All right, brother.
I got to go help Jules. This was awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep this up every week, and we'll talk all the same stuff. Like I said, Smokey and the Bandit next week. Hopefully some Motor Trend on Demand if you get on there. I've seen it all. I'm a huge fan, and so whatever you see or consume in the week and you want to talk about, I'm ready.
All right, brother.
And we'll work on that music playlist, and I'll update if we end up selling that Mustang. We do have someone that's going to come look at it this week, so fingers crossed.
All right.
All right, man.
We'll talk to you later, brother.
We're out of here.